The definitions have changed. The way we perceive those words has changed. They haven't changed. Our perception of them has. So what was okay to say 30 years ago when we didn't have a lot of real information as to what that really meant has changed over the years. So telling somebody that they're a retard 30 years ago is not saying that they're mentally challenged. It's just that back then a retard was somebody that just didn't get it.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's why it seems like we're too PC. But
No,
I guess
it has nothing to do with
changed.
PC. It has to do with the definition of the word and how it's evolved over the past 30 years. Okay.
At least something has.
Yeah, well, here and there. So you can't say, you can try to blame it all on PCs and everything, but things have changed over the past 30 years, and what was acceptable to say 30 years ago isn't now, because 30 years ago we had, well, actually it was a little more than 30 years ago because I'm older than 30 years ago. Say in the 60s, okay, it was okay to call a black person the N-word because that was the way society was, and nobody knew better, and nobody had the idea that there was anything wrong with it. Now, 30 years, 40, 50, 60 years later, it's offensive because of the connotation behind what we understand now as a society, what the connotation behind the word is. Okay? So it's not so much that the words have changed, the definition has changed. It's society's awareness of what the word does, or what the connotation of the word is what's changed. And that's why what you could say 30 years ago is not acceptable now, is because we've evolved ourselves away from that behavior and away from that line of thinking into something new. Some of us have. Not everybody. Let's not say that we as a society have actually evolved into something better, because we still have a bunch of knuckle draggers out there and mouth breathers that still refer to people that way because they don't know better, because they haven't gotten the idea that we just don't do that in a civilized society.
Or because they know that it pushes people's buttons and they're just assholes. I think some people just do it as an antagonizing method.
Yeah.
Some people are just dicks. I mean, let's face it.
I do a lot of things just because I'm an asshole.
Well, yeah, but we already know that. I mean, that's a given. I mean, on the show, we actually list you as asshole. So, okay, maybe not, but still.
Works for me.
Yeah. Your buddy's in the chat room right now. Say hello.
Hi, Carolyn.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that we as a society have evolved away from for the most part. Using those that terminology, those different connotations that were acceptable back then, because that's the way we were raised, to where we are now, where we've moved away from following that and being a part of that. She said hello. So, what do we really need to worry about PC? No, I think that concentrating on PC takes away from the idea or the ability of people to actually take responsibility for their own emotions and their own feelings, because it's too easy to assign somebody else the feelings when you feel upset.
Well, it's also too easy to say, oh, you're saying it just because I'm a woman, or because I'm this ethnic background, or I'm this, or I'm that.
Well, right, but
it's like,
I mean,
no, I'm
still,
just saying it because you're an asshole.
Well, yeah, but you wouldn't use that type of terminology just if you're going to call somebody an asshole, you're going to call them an asshole. You're not going to make some sort of negative connotation based on their race or their skill set or anything like that. You're just going to call them an asshole. Okay, so delving outside that realm,
right?
You're opening yourself up to being,
No, like if you're at work, oh, your job performance is lacking. Oh, you're just picking on me because I'm a woman, or because I'm this. Or
well,
no, you're actually just slacking.
That's the way to use PC, political correctness, and use minority information to try to give the burden off of the person and putting it back on those that make the judgment. Okay.
I'm sorry, this is my little tangent. It's just been
but
driving
very
me nuts
rare.
lately.
How often do we see at work where somebody gets in trouble for something and they say, well, you're just attacking me because I'm Hispanic, or you're just attacking me because I'm a woman? How often in our work in the
Lately?
past
No.
in the past 3 years. Let's say 3 years.
Okay.
In the past 3 years, how many times have you physically and actually heard somebody say, "Well, you're just picking on me because I'm a woman"?
I haven't.
Right. So using that as an analogy to, for the conversation is not really that pertinent because we don't see it. That's kind of like using a blog for news. It's an opinion based on something that might have some fact in it, but not something that was actually first-person witness.
I see what you're saying.
So, I've not seen anybody at work. I mean, I've just finished my. I'm into my between 7 and 8 years at this company, and I have never seen a situation in a review or anything like that aside from somebody who's trying to not do work because they're a woman or whatnot. And
I'm just a woman. Yeah. Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Aside from her, in the past 7 years, I have not seen anybody else use that as an excuse. That I'm just a woman or that you're treating me badly because I'm just a woman or any of that kind of stuff. Aside from that one person who was basically just trying to get out of work, I haven't seen anybody else use that as an excuse or use an excuse that you're picking on me because I'm Hispanic or that I'm an Asian or I'm this or I'm that or the other. We don't see that. It's more of a urban legend type thing where people spread it around even though it doesn't actually happen. Kind of like Trump. He spread shit around even though it actually didn't happen that way. It's just fake news. Literally, it's just fake news. So it's a tough thing, but we do spend so much time worrying more about bullshit, and I think it comes down, when you look at it, it comes down to lack of personal responsibility. Okay. If a person screws up, they try to find somebody to blame or some way to take the blame off of them. I'm just a woman, you're picking on me because I'm a Hispanic, whatever. Okay. When there's not really any, demonstrable evidence showing that. But it's easier for people to actually slough off their own inadequacies onto something else so that they don't feel like it's all their fault.
And there could be instances where the person actually making the accusations could actually be in the right. Somebody may be getting picked on because they're
No, I agree with that.
not
there
white
could be
or a woman
but
or
if
whatever.
but to just say it without having actual examples of it, I mean, you have to have actual examples to prove the point.
Oh, you don't need facts in this country. What the fuck are you talking?
I'm sorry, I forget. This is the Trump era.
I need to refresh
you
your
don't
drink.
Need fact. Well, there is that too. I mean, it is empty. So I mean, I'm definitely alcohol deficient.
His
that could
Cape
be part
Cod
of my
is gone.
I don't know what a Cape Cod is, but the alcohol thing that you fed me a
Vodka
couple of
Cran.
times. Okay, whatever. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, this, that, the other. You just snap the beak. I'm in trouble. I just got the look.
Have another drink, Scott.
Yeah, well, the next drink might have cyanide or something in it with that look. That
No, you're just going to have to make it yourself.
Yeah, but I think in general as a society we have become too easily butthurt. Okay, I'm not saying that it has anything to do with being PC. I think it's just we have become too sensitive to insignificance and numb to extraordinary.
Oh, okay. You hurt my feelings. Really? I have that much power to hurt your feelings. If I have that much power really?
No, what I'm saying is, for example, somebody's upset because maybe at work the supervisor's paying more attention to their production. Okay? So they're all upset and they're all hurt about it. Those same people are ignoring the fact that outside the walls of our company, our country is in trouble, or that healthcare is in trouble, or that education is in trouble. Okay, we spend so much time being distracted by personal affronts based on our own egos that we forget that there's more to our country, there's more to our state, and there's more to humanity than whether or not I get to work a little bit of overtime this week, or whether or not I got written up because I play on my phone all day long instead of drying parts in the clean room. Okay, there's a difference there. And it's way too easy now for people to take the butt hurt status as opposed to taking personal responsibility for what they did to receive the butt hurt status.
Well, wait a minute. The only reason that they're worrying about all the stuff that directly impacts them is because it directly impacts them. They don't care about something that could potentially affect them if it hasn't actually happened
No,
yet.
what I'm saying is that personal responsibility has gone to the dogs. I'm sorry, dogs. I didn't mean to throw you into that lump.
Yeah, don't fucking...
But what I'm saying is that personal responsibility has become personal excuse, okay? Instead of taking responsibility for a mistake. Okay, yep, hey, I was doing this happened, it's my fault, I accept the responsibility for it. Now it's, yeah, this happened, I don't know how it happened, somebody must have done this, or somebody else did that.
Somebody's out to get me.
Somebody's out to get me, as opposed to just saying, yeah, I fucked up. Okay, I screwed the pooch on this. I apologize. I'll do what I can to make it better. And accepting that responsibility, we try to find excuses to blame it on anybody but ourselves. And that's what's wrong with society, is we spend so much time trying to blame everybody else for our lot in life. Okay? Yes, not everything is controllable. Not everything is our fault. Okay? If we're on our way to work in the morning and we have an accident, it's not necessarily our fault. Okay, but we can't say that it's everybody else's to blame and we had nothing to do with it, because obviously we were in the accident, so we had something to do with it.
Just even if the fact that we were just at the wrong place
wrong
at the
place
wrong
at the wrong time.
I mean, we're still
we
there.
still have to accept the fact that we were there at this point in time when this accident happened and it affected us. And instead we say, well, that person ran a red light, or that person did this, or I don't know how this happened. There must have been a problem with the brakes, blah, blah, blah. We come up with all this bullshit to relieve ourselves of the responsibility of what happened. And that's where our country is having a problem. Okay? We send people to war, and then we ignore the responsibility of taking care of those people when they come home. We ignore the fact that we hand over the keys to our government to billionaires and then don't understand how all of a sudden they're creating presidential this, that, and the other, and killing laws and stuff like that hurt the people to help the rich. It really comes down to the basic idea of, when are the people in our country going to start taking personal responsibility for their own actions first, and then worry about everything else after that. Mic drop.
Well, I mean, why would we want to do that? I mean, honestly.
It's just one of those things. I mean, if I screw up, I screwed up. I'm gonna take.
I'll be the first to admit it.
But see, that's the thing, is there's very few people in our country now that will admit when they make a mistake, or will that own up and accept the responsibility of the mistake. Okay, and that's where we have a problem. Okay, I burnt the steak earlier. That wasn't the dog's fault. That was my fault. I wasn't paying attention to it. I take the onus for that. Anybody else? Well, the dog got in the way and the phone rang and blah, blah. It's always too easy to make excuses to release. It works really well with religion when you come down to it. Okay, let's move on to that one. It's real easy to use religion to take away your responsibility. Well, it's part of God's plan. I'll pray for you.
Well, then why are you praying if it's part of his plan? Like, your prayer's going to, all of a sudden be the...
It just has to do with removing the responsibility of wrongdoing and putting it somewhere else. So, I was in an accident today, but it must have been part of God's plan, or else I wouldn't have been in the accident. No, you were playing on your phone and you rear-ended somebody. That had nothing to do with God. That had to do with you playing on your phone.
Oh, God, there was actually a comedian. I can't remember his name. He's a really funny guy, Hispanic comedian. And he does this skit about God and his plan. And he's like, okay, so Mike, who's 72, who was a part of the mafia and killed people, was an asshole. So it was part of God's plan for him to die. But the 9-year-old in the car, who's innocent and was a sweet kid, also died in the same accident. So how exactly did that factor into God's plan? What
Hey.
evil was that 9-year-old going to do? Was he an offspring of Hitler? And he does this whole thing, and it really kind of makes you think.